So here's another one I've been waiting to open since it arrived. You guys can understand why, right? Hi, my name is Amy Vishwanatha and welcome to Techie Housewife. Aside from the fact that PocketGo S30 is supposed to be such a great device, there is another reason I'm just itching to get this opened. This is the SNES controller style. And the SNES controller is one of my absolute favorite controllers ever. Probably because I spent so many hours playing with it. So let's get right to it. I'm not wasting any time. Obviously, the controller isn't exactly the same as the original SNES controller because of the thumbstick, as you see right there, and the start and select buttons had to be moved over due to the screen, but it still looks awesome. I hope it feels that way too. And if we actually take a look at the back, we can see that the battery life is 4 to 5 hours, and it has a 3.5-inch IPS screen. I'm hoping that it looks great. So let's see what comes with it. This is mine, by the way. My husband thinks he's going to get his hands on this, but I don't think so. There's the beautiful controller. It feels good, actually. Let's see. Okay, basically it just comes with the USB-C charger. I'll double check and see if anything else is there. Some instructions. Feels like a great quality. It doesn't feel over plasticky. It doesn't feel like it would be breakable. That's kind of coming off, but it's a sticker. It feels like I'm holding an SNES controller in my hand, aside from a couple of changes. The texture even feels the same to me. As you see, we have the micro SD slot, headphone jack, USB-C charging port. This is volume. This is the power button. So let me turn the power button on. You can see the left and right trigger buttons. And here we go. Have a look at it. So what I want to do is I'm going to play with the stock firmware. And then after I'm finished with that, I want to install Retro Game Core Simple 30 firmware since it's been recommended by many people who've used it. After I'm done here, I'm going to install it and I will also show you how that is. So let's get playing. It looks kind of blurry. Okay, this is a bomber game. The colors are pretty vibrant. I feel like the D-pad is good quality. It's responsive. It's not too loose. So my initial thoughts are that this is pretty cool. It feels great in my hands. The buttons are not too loose. They feel like their tensions are just right. Super responsive, comfortable on your fingers, and they do not feel cheap and plasticky. They're not mushy. This is a well-built, sturdy controller, and it seems like it's made out of some good quality material. The screen is more than adequate, and I think because of the size of the controller here, it looks much bigger than it actually is. That is a big plus. Look at this. It's just, there's something about these games that just takes me back to my childhood when I look at them. And I just wanted to take a moment to actually admire it before I played. Every time I push the button, it's super responsive. I'm going to give you a close-up look here at the angle. And view it from the side. And the other side. Just trying to see how well the screen is for different angles here. I think worst case scenario where you would actually have to tilt it a certain direction,
you're going to be able to see it. So I think the screen is the perfect size for this controller. The screen is displaying the colors perfectly. They're vibrant and they're rich and they don't look washed out at all. And the usability was pretty easy right off the bat. You turned it on and hit a button. It went to the menu. You chose which game you wanted and boom, you're in. No sticking of any buttons. They feel like they're perfectly spaced and the size of these buttons work perfectly because of the size of the controller. And again, I feel like I'm holding my SNES controller from my teenage years. I think this is going to be my second favorite device. As far as movement on the screen, you will notice there's no ghosting. It's smooth. And when I, let's say I pause it and I want to go back to the screen, the transition is instant. As you can see, it transitioned super fast. So I'm hoping that means this device is going to be super fast. Let's resume. It went right back. And one thing I want to check, the volume. I've turned it up to full volume. Right here we have the speaker, and it is not extremely loud, but it's adequate for what you need when you're playing with a handheld device like this. One thing I have not mentioned yet is I added some ROMs onto this device so we can see how some other games play as well. And I just want to also mention how cool each of these look. I love that retro feel that's going on here. Okay, let's go ahead and try an NES game. And I will say, for such a small speaker, it does have decent sound. Kung Fu! Everybody is Kung Fu fighter! Okay, I did not squat. It's playing really good. Until that just happened. So far, so good. Hey. Dude. Oh, hey, I did not squat. I noticed a few times that when I would go left or right, sometimes even, he would bend down even though I didn't hit down. If I kept my fingers right on the edges, I was okay, and it didn't do that. And this is something you actually usually see with a cheaper controller, something you might buy on Amazon or eBay, and it can get pretty annoying, especially with the games where you have to run and jump to get through. Let's see how it works with the thumbstick. So with the thumbstick, it didn't do that. So I'm thinking something is going on underneath the D-pad to make that happen, because the material of the D-pad is really good. It feels great, so it's kind of disappointing. But you won't have that nostalgic feel of playing with your SNES controller. So I hope it doesn't affect too many other games that way. Okay, sorry, I'm having a little bit of a lighting problem. The light to my right kind of just isn't working right now. So hopefully it's still nice and clear for you. Sorry about that. Okay, now that we tried SNES, I have to play a Super NES game because the controller, obviously. This is the game that I spent most of my time using this controller with, so obviously it's my first choice to play with. There's no issue
right now. I was having an issue with the D-pad in another game. So far here, I don't feel it's a big deal. I don't think. Now he did squat a second ago. I just saw that. Oops, I was trying to watch my fingers. So he did squat once. So it looks like there is still a slight problem there. Other than that, it played great. Controls are exactly as I remembered. Nothing has changed with that. So I like it when they stay true to the game and the controls, especially using the controller that it was played with. I'm trying something different. You see it, it's Dreamcast. And again, these are ROMs that we added. I wanted to play these on here just to see what it's like before I add Simple 30. You probably can hear that the sound is a little distorted. So I'm curious how this is actually going to play. Yeah, it's not responsive. It jumps, for sure, but it's not letting me have use of the D-pad properly. There's a huge lag. There's a very big lag. So this is not playable on the stock firmware. Let's play my favorite PS1 game that I ever played. Now, since Dreamcast didn't work, I'm curious to see how this works. Naughty Dog. Do any of you remember that screensaver from Naughty Dog way, way, way back? Early 90s? I always remember that when I see it. Sanity Beach. Yeah, this thing's anything but sane. This is playing much better than what I played with the other day. Hey, I did not go that way. Did you see that? I was pushing kind of up and it made him go to the left. So that D-pad problem is there. This game looks really good on here. The colors are bright. This brings so many memories back. Okay, I was not even touching the left side. Now if I hit the up arrow, I stay pretty much on track. But it keeps wanting to take me to the left. If you're very careful, this game could be playable. Let's see if I play with the thumbstick, how it goes. Yeah, there's better control that way. No. Yeah, the thumbstick gives you way better control on this. And one thing I'm happy about is it's also playing a PlayStation game. How cool is that? Okay, did you see that when I hit left, he jumped twice, even while I was pushing back to the right. He did it again there too. And I'm unable to control him properly on this. Yes, this wasn't as responsive for Neo Geo. Okay, now that we've played a few of those games, what I would like to do is try the retro Game Simple 30, which is supposed to really be great on here. So let's do that right now. And the first difference you'll notice is that the title is now showing for each gaming system as we go through. And
That's pretty cool. So first I would like to play Nintendo 64. And I will say that playing with this controller actually gives me the same exact feeling as playing with the original SNES controller. And I absolutely love it. I can see myself playing on this for hours probably. Just a little bit about Simple 30. It lets you access a full retro arc, and you can use different hotkeys, cheats, rewind, button mapping, and things like that. It gives us access to 90 different systems and ports. But I did want to mention that Retro Game Core has worked so hard on this to help optimize our settings, emulators, performances, scaling, bezels. You get the picture, right? He has worked tirelessly, I think, to help us have a really great experience with this particular device. And I am very thankful for that, and I just wanted to give him a little bit of a shout out there. I will link the video to Simple 30 below so you can get a better understanding of what it is, how it works, and how to install that. He's done such an excellent job. Just an FYI, if you hit select and R1 while you are in a game, it saves your current state. And if you hit select and L1, it loads it. So that makes it pretty easy to remember. And one great thing as well, before I start playing the Nintendo 64, if we go back, it might take a couple seconds to get back there, you will notice that we have a shutdown button that allows us to shut down the system safely so we do not lose anything. It's pretty cool. We also have easy access to our settings. You can go in, language, backlight, joystick, calibration. Let's go to the backlight actually. Let's see. Whoa, there's a little more brightness there. One thing that Retro Game Core did mention is that he's tried to tweak the firmware so 16-bit games are playable on here. So you may have some that don't look great, you may have some that look smooth, you may have some that might have a glitch here and there in the sound, and all sorts of other things, but that's the one thing he's tried really hard to do is make 16-bit games work well. Here we go, excitement. One thing he did mention as well is for like some other systems, he's made sure to put some bezels in to make them look as close to original as possible. And fun fact, we used to have tournaments here at our house with a bunch of people. We used to have a lot of fun doing that with Mario Kart. Now, first thing you will notice is the sound is a little glitchy, but let's see how it plays before we're too judgmental. Weehaw! Come on. Go. There we go. Whoa. It's working pretty good. Yeah, it's responding every time I hit the analog stick. Whoa! Okay. This is a problem I have with the analog sticks. Weehaw! Yeah, the only problem I think that you can really acknowledge too much here is that the sound has a little bit of crackling noise in it. Other than that, the game is working great. Oh goodness. I mean, the emulation is pretty spot on. Okay, who did that? It's not funny. I'm in 4th place. So I'm just seeing if the D-pad works for this, and no, it doesn't. It's a joystick only, I guess. This is playing N64 much better than many of the other systems do. I'm really quite impressed with this. At least the Mario Kart so far. Let me open Game Boy. Okay, this is one thing I wanted to show you. If you notice up here, it says dot matrix with stereo sound. What they have done is they tried to make it have as close to the original look as you could get. So he's added bezels and everything to a lot of the games, so that will make your experience a lot more authentic. He's tried to keep the screen sizes, and it really looks nice. It's lit up bright enough that you can clearly read what is on a screen. You can clearly see pretty much everything. So I'm really impressed with this. Let's check out Sega Genesis Mega Drive. And one thing I am very curious of is, has the firmware update helped the D-pad at all? Maybe it has improved. I don't know how well you can see the colors there. It's so clear and the colors are pretty vibrant. I hope that comes across in the video. I don't think there's anything I don't like about the device yet, except for possibly that issue I was having with the D-pad, which I'm hoping has been resolved by Simple 30. This is a lot harder than I remember. It seems more responsive when I hit to fire. That's really good. I think a great way to test the D-pad and see if it's improved at all would be play Sonic and Knuckles, and let's have a look at that. It's working pretty much almost perfect. I'm not getting that extra bounce that I was getting, or the squat. No! So far, D-pad is working great. I have not had any issue. The crash game that I was having the issue with the D-pad on, we'll see how that has improved. I feel like the system is a little snappier now with the Simple 30 in there. It was really responsive before, but I feel like it's even more responsive now when I'm in here playing these. And I noticed that the buttons are much more responsive. The D-pad has improved so much. This is the moment of truth, actually. This is where we really saw the D-pad having issues. And the brightness, I only put it up by 2, but it really looks so vivid, and the colors are really popping in this. Hey, he stopped. Did you see that? He didn't keep running. The D-pad improvement is almost 100% better. See, he moved to the left. There was no other issue. I'm pushing straight and he's just going straight. He's not turning left at all when I'm doing that. Even if I like angle it when I'm touching, he's just going straight. Very significant change. Yay! Oh, I love this game. Hey, you don't have to tell me how much of a failure I am. It worked awesome. This is like 100% difference. I could not believe the difference that Simple 30 has made in the gameplay. It's just amazing. I don't know if you've been watching, but if you hit start and select together, it takes you into the quick menu and it allows you to close the content that way. And then it will allow you to go back to the main menu by quitting RetroArch. It's super simple. And then hit B to go back to the systems. This is doing a great job as well. The sound is great. There's no crackling or anything in the audio. It's crisp. I don't see any lag. It's doing a great job of emulating this. Earlier, if you remember, I had some issues with the D-pad on an NES game. Let's go try that same game. And again, look at those colors. Everything is crisp. Just love it. Okay. Oh, he's letting me, okay. I already can tell the difference. I will tell you that right now. It's jumping immediately. Okay. But I'm not having the issue I was earlier with this either. I can see a clear difference when I jump up. Oops. I just wanted to try it real quick to see if we could make out any difference. And again, just like on Crash, I'm having no issue whatsoever. And if I'm paying attention to the buttons, I think they're much more responsive than they were previously as well. And we are trying Neo Geo. Insert coin. So I can see a lot of improvement overall with the D-pad as well as the buttons. And I do know someone had mentioned that the button buffering, they noticed that it had improved as well when they updated to Simple 30. They had mentioned there was some issue with not responding as soon as you fire on an opponent, and right here it was responding immediately. So I think that issue has also been taken care of. Overall, I think this is one of the absolute best handheld emulators that I've put my hands on. My husband has already said, because he's the one who always gets to look at them first, because I don't want to see them until we have ROMs and things like that installed. I want it to be an authentic experience when I open it for you guys. He said that he noticed a significant difference when he played a couple of the different games to test it out for me. One thing I will mention is, due to the problem that we were having with the D-pad prior to updating to Simple 30, he ordered a Game Boy DMG, and he's wanted to replace the D-pad to see if that would fix the problem. Well, I feel like the problem's already fixed. I'm not positive if he's going to still want to do that, but here is the actual D-pad that if he replaces it, this is what it will look like. Maybe I'll try to talk him out of it. I don't know if that'll work or not. And actually what we bought came with 2 packages of these, so he has already said that he wants to keep this one, and I said no, this is mine. I have a feeling there may be a fight over who gets to keep this, and I will win. I told him this was my childhood system, not his.
This may have actually moved up to my #1 handheld emulation device. Okay, first question out of the way. Do I recommend this? Yes. You would almost be crazy not to get this if you are a fan of handheld emulation devices. This is, in my opinion, almost the perfect device. This will be my #1 favorite. I know at the beginning I said this may be #2. I was wrong. I was totally wrong. This is #1 for me. I don't know if it's just because it's been my favorite system, my favorite controller of all time. That might have something to do with it, but it played great, especially after the update to Simple 30. And again, I will be linking that below. It is by Retro Game Core, and he has gone all out. If you watch that video, you will see how much work he has actually put in to giving us the best experience we can have on here, and he's still working to improve that. So thank you so much, Retro Game Core. The screen is great, and I think because if you look at the size of the device, look how much of the screen you can see there. It's great, and I think because of the size of the device itself, it makes the screen seem that much bigger. And the controls, especially after updating to Simple 30, were excellent. The D-pad had a problem beforehand, but after the update, it just works like 95% better. If you ask me if there are any cons to this, the con for me is, why did I not open this a lot sooner? Why did I wait so long? Now, if the D-pad had not improved significantly with the firmware update, then I would say that was a con. But as of right now, I can say it works great. So I don't honestly see any cons for this device. The screen allowed me to see the crisp, vibrant colors, and seemed pretty smooth for the most part on almost every single game. Even Mario Kart 64 played pretty good, looked pretty good, and I think I may have had a couple of games where the sound crackled a little bit. And considering how N64 doesn't play well on a lot of these devices, I would say a little bit of crackling here and there is nothing compared to not being able to play it at all. PocketGo S30 is super easy to use straight out of the box. And if you do not update to Simple 30, you will probably have a couple of issues with the D-pad. Other than that, you can use the thumbstick and still play the games without any issues. I know some people mentioned they didn't care for the buttons on here because of the size, but to me, they are perfectly placed, they are perfectly spaced, they respond great, and they feel good on my hands. The device, the texture, it just feels like an original controller from SNES. And I think that was a great thing to do when you're trying to go for that look and feel. Why not make it as authentic as possible? My brain is like going 90 miles an hour just because I'm so excited about this device and how much fun I had playing it and how many memories actually came to surface because of this device. I don't think I'm putting everything into words that I really want to say. I think I might have skipped quite a bit. I think if you're into these handheld emulation devices, this will probably quickly become a favorite for you, especially if you love SNES. I think it's worth every penny, and it's worth the time that we waited to receive it because it got hung up at some post office somewhere. It was totally worth the wait. Thank you for watching today. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to share this video with your friends. Also, don't forget, go out and have a game-tastic day.